The Clash of Dragons is a series of battles between Avli and Iron, led by the immortal hero Tarnum on the side of the elves and Mutar the Dragon Queen on the other side of the conflict. After the Restoration Wars, Tarnum chose to live with the elves and befriended the dragons that dwelt in Avli, the green and gold dragons. When the dragons suddenly disappeared, the ancestors asked him to find them, a task he gladly accepted. After consulting with the Elf King of Avli, Eldric Parson, Tarnum set out to find the Dragon Talker, an ancient elf who lived with the dragons. Tarnum appointed a dwarf named Kurbon to be his master of supplies, and the elderly druid Aspen made himself Tarnum's advisor and chief of his spy network. Eventually Tarnum located the Dragon Talker, and she told him that something was controlling the dragon's minds. Tarnum soon found out that it was the Dragon Queen Mutar that was taking control of the dragons, in an attempt to bend all of Adagra's dragons to her will, and thus rule the world. He set out to find the Vial of Dragon Blood, an artifact capable of restoring the minds of the dragons. During his escapades, he freed the ranger Valita, who was sent to find the same artifact on behalf of Edric Parson, but was taken prisoner and tortured by the band of pit fiends. With the aid of the Vial of Dragon Blood, Tarnum managed to free all the green and gold dragons from Mutar's spell by freeing the Dragon Mothers, the ancestors of all the good dragons. Having lost control of the good dragons, Mutar enslaved the mind of the great rust dragons and sent an overlord to attack Avli with their aid. Tarnum was once again victorious, but during that offensive, his army experienced a lot more ambushes than they used to, raising the suspicion that there was a traitor between their midst. The druid Aspen suspected Valita since the attacks began shortly after she joined Tarnum's army. Tarnum couldn't be persuaded that she was the traitorous spy, as slowly but steadily he began to have feelings for her. In the meantime, Mutar enslaved the ferocious crystal dragons and used them to invade Erathia. With the aid of the knight Sorsa, Tarnum managed to drive away the armies of Nion and protect Erathia. To stand up to Mutar's prowess, the Elf King sent Tarnum to ally with the fairy dragons. One of Aspen's spies found a harpy who's been bringing messages from the traitor to the enemy. The harpy didn't know what the traitor looked like, only that the person used elven arrows with black and green feathers. Tarnum asked Kerben the dwarf, seeing as they were old-time friends with Valita, whether anyone else but her used these colors, but got a negative answer. Tarnum called Valita into his tent, but instead of accusing her, he kissed her and told her that he trusted her. He secretly wrote a fake note of the traitor, in hopes that the real traitor would be forced to reveal himself. When Aspen got his hands on the note, Kerben shot him with Valita's arrows, thus revealing that he was the traitor all along. It was also revealed that a long time ago he was taken prisoner and tortured until he obeyed Nion. Tarnum's men tried to hunt him down, but the dwarf escaped and Aspen died from his injuries. Eventually Tarnum managed to convince the fairy dragons to join his army. Unfortunately, Mutar took control of the mighty Azure dragons, the mightiest creatures that walk the land. Valita expressed her love for Tarnum, but Tarnum knew that the ancestors could call him away at any time, and so he reluctantly rejected her advances. Soon after, Valita left camp to hunt down the raiding Azure dragons of the area. With the aid of the fairy dragons, Tarnum pushed Mutar out of Avli and Erathia. But Mutar gathered her remaining forces and prepared to make a stand near the sea. Valita and her elves were raiding Mutar's forces when they were ambushed by Kurbon and taken prisoners. Kurbon decided to rebel against Mutar and freed Valita. Mutar's retribution was swift, and Kurbon was attacked by her dragons and got killed, though Valita managed to escape. Before dying, Kurbon had told Valita that he didn't want to live inside his fear of Nion anymore. Tarnum agreed with the sentiment and decided to live happily with Valita while he can, in spite of the ancestors' wishes. In the meantime, Mutar made the mistake to scatter her armies across Erathia and Avli. This enabled Tarnum to get behind the border of Avli and strike Mutar personally. In the final battle, Mutar was defeated and her armies crushed. Wounded, she retreated to Naion, hoping that she would eventually restore her power, but her weakness allowed other power-hungry lords of Naion to claim her life, ending the Dragon's Queen reign, and with her, ending the Clash of Dragons. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe on this channel and consider supporting me on Patreon. Leave a comment below to let me know what other parts of Heroes 3 lore you would like to be explored next. Cheers!